When you think about prayer, do you picture memorized words or formal settings? Sometimes we forget that prayer can be as simple as talking to a friend. For me, that's how it started with candid conversations. I've never felt like I had to be anyone other than myself when talking to God, and that openness has been a crucial part of my journey. Early on, when I was discerning my vocation, I received some advice from a priest that stuck with me. It was during a retreat, probably when I was about 13 years old. A group leader introduced me to Father Severson, the priest running the retreat, because I'd mentioned I was interested in the priesthood. Father Severson, in the middle of a cigarette break, just looked at me and said, "Well, ask God what he wants you to do. He'll tell you." I was impressed by his blunt, down to earth approach, so I took his advice. From that point on, I felt a certain freedom in prayer. I never felt like I had to censor myself in front of God. I could be completely honest. Whether I was frustrated, confused, or tempted, I knew I could bring it all to God in prayer. That honesty gave God space to speak to me in return. Looking back, I think the freedom I had in prayer allowed God to guide me in ways I needed, even when I didn't recognize it at the time. When I started seriously discerning my vocation, being open with God in prayer became even more important. I didn't have a perfect prayer routine. I wasn't someone who spent hours in quiet meditation. But I had a relationship with God that was built on honest conversations. Because I didn't put up barriers, I was able to hear Him more clearly. When I was confused, I told Him. When I didn't understand His plan for me, I asked for clarity. And while I didn't always get immediate answers, the back and forth of our conversations helped me slowly understand what He was calling me to do. This week, I encourage you to be open with God in your prayers. You don't need perfect words. Just speak from your heart. If you're frustrated, tell Him. If you're confused, let Him know. It's in those honest moments that God can speak to us most clearly. And as you pray this week, I also invite you to ask God if there's a young man in your life who might be called to the priesthood. It could be a family member, a friend, or someone in your parish. In a few weeks, we'll be asking for recommendations, so take this time to pray and listen. God might be using your prayers to help someone else find their path.